Hello, everybody. We are live. It is great to have you with us here on LinkedIn Live for our Embark to Empower event today. And of course, happy National Intern Day for all of us that are celebrating here on this Thursday. My name is Ben Heisler. I'm with our corporate communications team here at H&R Block. And I'm joined by three terrific Embark Summer interns who you will get to know over the next 30 minutes or so, and hopefully connect to their stories and firsthand experiences from their time spent with us. But perhaps more importantly, what they found to be most insightful and useful for future success in their exciting careers ahead. So let's go ahead and meet them. We have Derrius Rahman on the UX design team. Hi, Derrius. Good to see you.
Hi, happy to be here.
We also have Elaina Gurung representing people and culture. Welcome, Elaina.
Hi.
And last but not least, we have Sean Anderson on the finance side. Good to have you, Sean.
Hey, thank you.
So I'm thrilled that all of you guys are here, and certainly appreciate your time and appreciate everybody who is joining us on LinkedIn Live right now. Before we start, I want to give anybody that is joining us just a brief overlook of Embark. So it's H&R Block's award-winning 11-week summer internship program. It's built around 4 pillars that focus on future career success. There's a framework really designed to create relevant experiences, create positive engagement, and showcase meaningful firsthand perspective within H&R Block's connected culture, our values, and the Block behaviors that really drive our success and also our purpose, which is providing help and inspiring confidence in our clients and communities everywhere. Also want to mention that starting this fall, you'll be seeing us on many college campuses, and applications for the Embark 2025 summer internship program will be available starting on September the 1st. All right, so let's have some fun. Sean, I'm going to kick things off with you, and then we will go right around the horn to Elaina and Derrius afterwards. Let's kick things off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your role throughout the course of this summer internship, and I'd love to know what intrigued you most about the opportunity to work and intern at Block over the course of the summer.
Yeah, so like you mentioned earlier, my name is Sean Anderson. I'm a senior accounting and finance major at KU. And so I was brought on to the corporate accounting team doing bank accounting for Block's financial services. And the way I kind of found out about the Embark program was through a friend of mine in one of my finance classes who had done Embark the summer prior. And he just had so many great things to say. He talked about how the program was just so well-rounded, getting good work experience, meaningful connections, and like professional development opportunities. And so that just kind of like did it for me. I was like, this sounds amazing. Like, let me go see more. And that's what drew me to the application.
What about for you, Elaina?
Yeah, so I am an IT major at UMKC, and I'm also a senior as well. And so I sort of learned about H&R Block kind of a similar way. Like during a career fair, I found out that H&R Block was based in Kansas City, which was, a huge surprise for me because I grew up in Kansas City. So I was like, wow, there's a huge company here. And so that was like my first draw in. But then other than that, I was talking like at the career fair, and I was talking to the recruiter there, and she was saying that, this is the Embark program. You get to be in with like a group of other interns. And I feel like that really drew me in the most because I love like that community aspect and having like a group of people that I can talk to.
The community aspect is something that we'll also hit on a little bit later as well. But Derrius, I'll pass it to you next. What intrigued you about the opportunity to be at Block over the course of the summer?
Yeah, thank you again, and thank you, Sean and Elaina. I am currently actually a grad student at Parsons in New York City. And so I wasn't familiar with the Kansas City area, did not actually know about Embark or really that Block had these amazing opportunities until I applied kind of through a program called DID, which is Diversity in Design. They took my design portfolio and they sent it out to a couple of partners that they have, Block being one of them, and then they kind of matched me with them. I was nervous at first because I didn't think, taxes had anything necessarily to do with design, but this has definitely proven me wrong. This has been more than a great opportunity. And I just think that through the interviews, they really stood out as a hire or a recruiter because they were offering real work experience and the opportunity to learn and be somewhere new. And so that was really attractive to me.
All right, so we've gotten a wide base of perspective as to why Embark was something that was a bit of a calling for all three of you. And the three of you touched on something that we're going to hit on next, which was really an opportunity to gain insight, have some real life hands-on experience, and not just within your own department. What's unique about the program is that while you are working under one team, there's also so many opportunities to connect across the enterprise as well. So I know you mentioned a little bit about what department you guys are already connected to, but where within the course of this program do you feel like you got that meaningful experience? And then was there a takeaway over these last 9 weeks or so that you can use once you feel like you're finally fully ready to enter your professional career? And Elaina, I'll start with you on this one, and then we'll go from you to Derrius and then Sean.
Yeah, sure. So with the first one about connecting across the organization, I feel like especially for me, the event that really showed that to me was the hackathon. So I sort of volunteered. I was like, they asked everyone, oh, who wants to be in the hackathon? And I raised my hand and I was like, sure, I guess. But it really made me get out of my comfort zone a little bit, but also I got to meet everyone, because in people and culture, you mainly see people and culture people, but I got to meet people in design, people in infosec, people in software engineering. So it's just it was just sort of like a wide range of people. And then so for the actual main takeaway, I feel like for me at school, it's very much you have one way and you think like you're in school. But here, it's definitely more of you wear a lot of different hats and you learn a lot of different things, and you also get to try a lot of things. And I really like that.
But before we get to your answer, Derrius, I want to follow up on something that you said about being able to immerse yourself with a lot of different people in a lot of different departments. For those that are watching that may not know about Hackathon, can you kind of take us through what that experience is like? Because for anybody involved in the Hackathon here, this is a 24-hour event with, after those 24 hours, you have an opportunity to present what it is that you've been working on. And that takes a lot of teamwork, a lot of energy, and a lot of perseverance. So can you kind of take us through that experience a little bit?
Yeah, of course I can. So it was called Open It or Open IT. And so it was, I think, mainly planned by a lot of women in technology. We do have a women in technology group here at Block as well. Just wanted to put that out there. But other than that, it was a 24-hour, like you said, a 24-hour time of you meet people, you meet the groups, and we beforehand we knew what groups we were in, but a lot of people at the beginning of the 24 hours, that's when they actually thought of their idea. But we thankfully got a little bit of pre-planning done, so my group was, I think, very vigilant about that. But and so you start, and we had a little kickoff celebration, and then we went into a room, we sat down, we talked about it a little bit, and they gave us a lot of good snacks. So we did that, drank some energy drinks. We didn't stay up too long, but I do know there were a lot of groups that stayed up pretty late. I think I heard 3 a.m., 4 a.m. thrown around a little bit. And then the very next day, I'm pretty sure it was at 9 a.m. We had presentations, but then we presented those to a lot of the leadership at Block. And I feel like it definitely exposed me to how like dedicated those people are to like hearing new ideas and like meeting new people. So, but that was the whole hackathon experience in a nutshell.
It's a lot of fun, and speaking with many of the folks on the engineering team and also with Open IT, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of diligence involved, and watching everybody come together and being able to highlight that as part of my job here at Block, which is on our corporate communications team, was a lot of fun. And we're already getting comments from fellow blockers that from Trevor Stark that you were the missing piece of the Open IT hackathon team. So well done by you. Derrius, what about you? I know that this has been really, you said at the beginning that design and taxes, where do they necessarily fall in together? And as you've begun to see, there's a lot of different elements that are involved.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I think kind of to answer the beginning part of Elena's question, or of the question, and to speak to what Elaina said, the connectedness is super important. And even some of my team members being able to work with Elaina, that's been really amazing to see how that design manifests in a hackathon. When they said hackathon, they were like, do you want to be part of it? I was like, I have a little bit of CS skills, but I don't really know if I'm built for a hackathon kind of thing. But then to kind of see like, oh no, there's all these moving parts. So I would say that connectedness is really a big important one, and seeing that within your workplace. But then also being as someone who was like still in school for design, I was really taken into the design process and worked in what they call sprints. So I think most agencies or work like that, they will usually do like a 1 or 3 week sprint. And on Block, at least on the .com side, they're working on a 1 week sprint. And so while my project necessarily wasn't a 1 week sprint, I was still intending those 1 week sprint details and really being able to be a part of that process and see, okay, this is how designers are managing their time. These are the kind of expectations, these are deadlines. And I think that'll be something that concretely will really move with me professionally from this moment, and having that experience and understanding like what the cycle of producing a product is.
You said sprints. If you can elaborate that a little bit, because I know that there's plenty of folks who understand and have worked in that agile workflow before. But working in a sprint is unlike a lot of things for many people. So can you kind of take us behind the scenes a little bit about being involved in a sprint, especially on the design side?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what it looks like, and mine has been expanded, so I think this is a great question. It is you get briefed at the beginning of the week. Maybe you kind of have known already what your projects are going to look like for your entire year, but as you move throughout the year, you start to chunk those projects away. So either at the beginning of the week, or usually at the beginning of the week, and prior to the beginning of the week, your heads, your project managers, they will kind of discuss like, oh, these are the things that we're thinking about. This is how long it's going to take. Then on that Monday, that's when you really start the sprint. You get the ground going. You kind of kick off is what happens at the beginning of the week. You say, these are all the things that we're looking to improve, to do, to execute on. And then you usually have until about Thursday to make those changes, make those updates, do what you have to do. And then Friday, you hand it off to your product team. And that's the case with a 1 week sprint. And so within that sprint, right, there are different stages that go. You have research, you have content hierarchy, you have the actual development of the design. And these are all happening, like I said, either in that 1 to 3 week timeline. Refining that research, user testing usually might come after, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, I think, probably initially, but once you get into the flow of a sprint, it kind of gets you going a little bit further.
Yes.
And you want to, and especially because you're aligned with so many people at that point too, that you want to be able to deliver for them, just because you know that everybody is working in alignment together. Sean, let's go to you next. As far as your perception, your opportunity, where you got some meaningful hands-on experience over the course of the summer on the finance side. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. So with my team, I was actually given daily tasks to do. So on the accounting team, daily entries and reconciliations for Block and our bank Pathwords General Ledger. And there was a little bit of a training period the first couple of weeks, but then I was really just given those tasks. I got to own them. And so it was more of a holistic learning experience, getting to be the one person in charge of making sure it gets done, when things don't go as planned, figuring out how to fix them, who to lean on to get guidance and help when that happens. And so I really just got to dive in to the work. And so that was fantastic kind of in my department. But also there were lots of opportunities to do process improvements and other kind of projects with my team. And then there were other leaders from different finance departments. One of them that comes to mind is the financial reporting team had reached out. And so I did a couple of projects for them as well. So Block does have a very strong culture, and it is really connected. We like to say we have a connected culture, and you can really tell that the people are there to support you, and you're all working together to better the block, if you will.
Oh, I think we lost you on audio, Ben.
There it was. I was muted because I wanted to take in what Sean was taking in. I was impressed that even just 9 weeks, really for all three of you, the connected culture and building the block is just rolling off the tongue very easily. That it took me certainly when I first started, it took me a lot longer to get everything down. And there are certainly a lot of acronyms at Block that I'm sure you guys have had to figure out as well. Really appreciate so many people that are weighing in as part of our LinkedIn Live today. We're hoping that at the end of our stream, we'll be able to take some questions directly. I've already seen that some folks have already submitted some of their questions as well. So keep those coming in. We love seeing them. We love all the participation that everyone has been a part of here so far today. Okay, so Sean, you talked about our connected culture and how it is really something that it's not just sort of a buzzword. It is something that we take a lot of pride in. It's significant to us. And I think what was unique about this program as well is, Block is a remote and hybrid based environment. We've embraced that. But what's cool about Embark is that there's really an emphasis on being here at CSC, which is our client service center here in downtown Kansas City. So Derrius, I'll start with you. How was it being able to be on site and have that camaraderie with fellow interns and other folks at Block, getting sort of directly into our connected culture? Can you talk a little about how that experience was beneficial for you, and if there was maybe a meaningful experience in particular that you'd want to highlight with everybody that's joining us today?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I feel like we had so many meaningful experiences this summer that were kind of facilitated by this closeness and being in person and taking advantage of that hybrid workforce. Yeah, and I think being on site really helped me connect one-on-one with my team leads, with all the people who were working in my office, whether they were here or not. It was just like being able to have that space to do so. And then also being able to connect with the interns. I think Block does a really good job of leveraging the flexibility in an intern and seeing experience as also part of the journey. And so there are a lot of different activities that we did together that really, I think, strengthened our cohort and made just like some really beautiful memories. This past Monday, they took us to a Royals game, which was really beautiful. But then on the other side of that, to speak to the kind of connected culture at large that comes with this sort of hybrid environment, knowing that we leverage a large work group, we will kind of, it seems as though the process is to send out, information beforehand for large events. And one thing that happened was the marketing and experience, which is the team that I'm technically under. They had their all hands this summer, and part of that all hands was a volunteer event. And so that gave people enough time to kind of figure out their way to get to the office. And then I was able to volunteer with that team, which I found really meaningful, and do like a park cleanup. And during that park cleanup, I actually met the VP on my team and was able to kind of have like a small conversation with him that wasn't necessarily related to Block or any of the things that were happening here, but just on a person-to-person level. So I feel like that was also really meaningful and developing my professional self as well.
I'm glad you brought up the volunteering initiatives, because that's part of our Block Horizons 2025 plan. And also want to mention too that July also happens to be Make Every Block Better month at H&R Block. And for anybody that is part of the H&R Block team that is watching on the stream currently, July is a great time to make sure that you log your volunteer hours. The easiest place to do that is to just go to volunteer.hrblock.com. We're having some great opportunities over the course of July. If you're looking for a volunteer event nearby, we certainly encourage you to check that out. But getting to that 1 million volunteer hour mark is something that has been set over the last 5 years, and we're looking to continue to climb to it. Also, as a native New Yorker, you got to go to a Royals game. How did that compare with, are you a Mets fan? Are you a Yankees fan? Are you a neither fan?
Yes, you've pulled the curtain. I'm not a native New Yorker at all. So I'm actually.
Right. You went to school in New York, but from Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I go to school in New York, but I'm from Colorado. But I'm sort of a Rockies fan. I think that's sort of like something that they kind of just instill in you growing up there. It was fun to see the Royals play and kind of partake in that baseball culture. I haven't really partaken in it in a while, so.
Yeah. And it's been fun to see them start to play a little bit better baseball and be back winning again.
Yes.
I remember when I first moved here in 2014, I'd never been in Kansas City before. And that was the year that they went and kind of surprised everybody, made it all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. And for a team that hadn't had a winning season in almost 30 years, it was so wild. It was wild to watch really the entire community just get behind it. And you kind of get to see that firsthand, especially when you're in Kansas City and see how great of a city and sports fan base this is.
Mm-hmm.
What about for you, Sean? Let's keep this going. Tell me a little bit about what was meaningful for you about being at CSC throughout the course of your time with Embark, and if there was an experience that stood out maybe more so than the rest about the meaning of being here consistently.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great way to feel like you're involved, to be involved, to make connections with the other interns, your team, the rest of Block. The CSC just really brings everyone together. And I think even though we are a hybrid company, technically, so many people from all the different departments still come into the office because that's just part of the culture that's been created here. And so for me, one of the most impactful things was actually our first day. I was terrified to walk into the office, not knowing like any interns, no one except my team lead. And there was like just so much energy. You walk in and the lobby opens up and everybody's there. You've got the Chiefs mascot, the Royals mascot, you've got Max Refund. All of your teammates are there, your team manager's there, the Embark program leads are there. And right away, it was just smiles and like everyone's introducing themselves and you just instantly feel like you're part of the Block family. And that stayed true for this entire internship.
Who was the mascot that you were most excited to meet or take a picture with on that first day?
Oh, Max Refund for sure, because I had no clue he existed. So that was a surprise.
Max was a big star of our It's Better with Block marketing campaign in 2024. So I'm glad he was there from day one, along with the several other local mascots here in the area to welcome you guys in. I got a chance to see that myself, and I was a little jealous of the party that was thrown from the very beginning. And my kids were jealous that you guys got to meet not only Max, but also Slugger and Casey Wolf and the rest of the local mascots. So they might have to be like honorary interns for a day for Embark 2025, just so they can sneak in a couple pictures with the interns and of course with the mascots. Elaina, what about for you?
I feel like Derrius and Sean both really hit all of the points that I wanted to bring up. I feel like definitely there is like that culture of seeing people, and even if that you don't actually know them, you're just like, hey, like, what's up? Like, what do you do? I feel like I've been asked so much, like, oh, like, what department do you work at? And it's really surprising because I'm like, wow, everyone wants to talk. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I love to talk. But yeah, sort of like with that, I also feel like talking about a party, we also had the block party this summer, which is really cool to see because on my team, everyone is fully remote. But for the block party, I got to actually see everyone, and it sort of showed me that even though like we don't see each other like on a daily basis in person, we still got that bonding time of that day of like, oh wow, like we do know each other. Like it's not that crazy, and it was really nice to see.
So far we've had 2 block parties since that campaign launched. So to be heavily involved in the second ever one as part of your experience here must have been really cool and unique. And they seem to be getting a little bit more unique and a little bit more fun and innovative each time. And for somebody who also enjoys being here at CSC, it's really nice. And you kind of feel the vibe and the energy of so many people back in the building. And you experience that as well heading into our town hall events as well. We got a few minutes left, and I know that there are a couple questions coming in, but I do want to make sure that we touch on this particular question. And that is, we've already seen that there are folks that are watching our conversation today that would love to be a part of what we're doing here, that have interest in Embark, or maybe you're working in the career field and want to be able to make recommendations for students and grad students who want to pursue an Embark Summer internship program. So, Sean, I'll start with you. Plain and simple, what advice would you offer to future interns who want to be a part of this next year or in years to come?
Yeah, fantastic question. I say, first off, Block is just a completely different company from what my perception of corporate life was like. And so, like, above all, just be different. Like, don't conform to what people are trying to make you do. Like, express yourself on your resume, express yourself, like, be authentic when you have your phone screen or your virtual interview, or however you're meeting with the recruiter or connecting with Block. And then really just lean in to our Block behaviors. There should be available online, you can find them, but we really put a lot of emphasis on embodying those Block behaviors. So being a problem solver, being bold in your work, staying curious, being straightforward, and then obviously we're better together. So making sure you have those good people skills. And if you can really lean your stories into those behaviors, you have a great chance to get here in Embark.
I think it's great advice, and especially that's actually something that I feel like I relate to, and part of the reason that I felt really comfortable when I interviewed here, because my background was a little more non-traditional and coming from a media background. So I think you make a great point. Be different, be unique, be yourself, be your authentic self, and find a way for that to stand out when you apply. So I think you make a great point, Sean. Elaina, what would you give as your advice from your experience here?
Man, I don't know how to follow that up. That was so good. But I would say honestly, just try to learn as much as you can. Like Sean said, like be curious. If you're interested, honestly, I think that will make you stand out the most.
There's definitely a component of curiosity, and I can relate to that as well. So you guys are all speaking my language here. But yes, and I think you brought up a good point earlier, is that people like to have conversations here. They like to connect. So being curious is a great way to not only network within the company, but people want to help. And if you have questions, Block associates and directors and leaders, they want to be able to help make sure that you're prepared to do your best job and be your best self at work. So also fantastic advice. All right, Derrius, I'm closing it out with you. We've gotten great advice from Elaina. I know you're going to bring it here. Tell me about the advice that you would offer to future interns.
Yeah, I would echo everything that my fellow peers have offered, and being your authentic self, like really leaning into those Block behaviors and communicating assets that you already have. And then also too, I would just say, I think one thing that was really important to me was expressing interest on working on a real project. I know that was something that was so important to me going into this internship, and that is something Block provided me with and provided all of my fellow interns with, was the opportunity to really engage in actual work. And yeah, I think that's just an opportunity that you can't miss. That'll be work that you can always take with you and be able to like really attest to your talents and things like that. So I think expressing an interest in really wanting to do like something that's tangible and provides you an accurate result, or not even accurate result, but just something that's tangible and can be a part of your experience, is just an amazing opportunity and something that is very present here at Block. Yeah.
All right, we do have a few questions coming in. I think we have time for at least one. And this is from our friend Shaylin. And she asks, what are some ways the Embark program has challenged you? How has the experience opened your perspectives or allowed you to explore areas you wouldn't have otherwise? I know you guys kind of touched on this maybe in the earlier portion. Elaine, I know in particular, you had talked about how you came from a background where you're studying IT and you're interning in people and culture. So I'll really throw it to any of you guys who want to take this one, but is there an area within the course of the program where you said, this is a unique challenge that, maybe I wasn't initially prepared for, but I feel like I can get there through the fellow associates that I have and the other interns. And there's ways to be able to make sure that you can accept and embrace that challenge.
I guess I can talk about that a little bit. So for me, especially when it came to, so my main project is about learning how to be a project manager, because that is something I'm really interested in, but I've never done before. And so I feel like a lot of the times in school, teachers are always saying, it's okay to fail. Don't feel free to fail. But I always thought, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean I can fail? Like, that makes no sense. But I feel like definitely being here at Block, I feel like it means you can try something new, and if it doesn't work out, I will help guide you through it. And for me especially, I feel like that is the way that Embark and Block in general was able to challenge me.
I love that perspective. And it kind of goes back to what Sean was talking about, right? With our bold behavior, take some swings, take some chances, because if you don't try, you'll never know. Sean or Derrius, do you guys want to weigh in on that as well? Any challenges within the course of the program that you felt like you were prepared to take on?
Yeah, I'd love to say a few words. I think just the program in general, like everything about the corporate workspace and being part of Block is just, it's so different from anything, at least that I've experienced, and I'm sure a lot of the other interns. And so really utilizing your team and the other interns and the Embark program leads to lean on for questions, for mentorship and guidance. I think for me personally was a big challenge because I'm not normally one to ask for help, but I found myself asking for help a lot. And it was reassuring to know that that's okay. And I got so much support from everyone here at Block. And I think that's what's really made the experience so wonderful.
Derrius, you want to close it out once again?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I will say kind of similar to Sean in the sense of leaning in. I think to keep it, I guess, like centered in profession, there's so many things that you hear about the design world and like it being very fast and kind of like a vicious environment to work in. And that was just not the environment I stepped into. And I had a lot of anxiety around being a sort of like baby designer, but my team, the .com team, like they are just so incredibly supportive, and that really shifted my perspective. And I guess I would give like a special shout out to one of my team members, Trevor, who really exemplified this kind of behavior of making work for him. Like one of the anxieties I think among Gen Z is just like work-life balance and being able to maintain creative passions. And I was really beautiful and like perspective changing to see Trevor, you kind of use this space as where he can like flex his creativity and make the job work for him.
I got to tell you that all three of you have really opened up my eyes from a different perspective. I've really enjoyed having the opportunity to get to know all three of you over the last week. And most importantly, I commend not only the three of you really diving into this program, but being as candid as you are, so that future interns can learn from these experiences and feel like there is that sense of connection, to be authentic to both yourselves, but also to your audience as well. So Derrius, Elaina, Sean, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you guys as part of this LinkedIn Live today. Wishing you all the best in everything that comes your way next. Also want to thank everybody for being a part of our live stream today here on LinkedIn Live. Also want to give a special shout out to Megan Colonna and to Lexi Bryan for all of their work and assistance for this as well. My name is Ben Heisler. I want to thank all of you guys once again. For more information, you can head on over hrblock.com/careers to learn more about Embark. And until then, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for being a part of this, everybody. Take care.
Bye.